There are so many types of questions in the IELTS reading test. One of those that a lot of students are struggling with, I think, is the matching heading and the matching feature. I mean, like, for the matching heading, you gotta really get the general idea of the passage in order to choose the right heading. And for the matching feature, I don't know if it's what it's called, but I mean, you gotta really have a good grasp of the details in order to know, like, for example, which person say the following one, says the sentences. So it's really hard for the student because it takes a long time to read. It takes them a long time to read, and it's really hard to choose the right answer. So do you have any tips for them for those matching things?
I think my top tip at the moment would be, if you can possibly do the computer-based test, do it. For me, one of the most wonderful side effects of doing the computer-based test is that you can actually move the headings around on the screen, and it's so much easier to visualize whether or not it works. So many students have found that all of a sudden they're better able to do matching headings. So that's a small technical point. But what I tell my students, I've got a group at the moment called the Eagles, and they love talking about reading. What I tell them is that you don't get better at reading tests by only doing reading tests. It's like trying to get better at marathons by only doing marathons. You know, you have to do other things too. So what I do is tell them to practice breaking down a text. And I mean by that, practice finding the topic sentence in each paragraph. When we write, usually the topic sentence is up front at the beginning of the paragraph. But in IELTS, they like to put the topic sentence in the middle of the paragraph, or even towards the end. And the more students are practicing finding the topic sentences and then finding the supporting arguments, they're much better at finding the main point of the paragraph, which means they can match the headings and they can match the main ideas. So I tell them, stop doing tests for a while and focus on underlining, highlighting the topic sentence in every paragraph. Right. And all of a sudden they get better, they're better able to focus.
That's a great tip, actually. But I wonder, like, is there any passage that doesn't have a topic sentence?
You know, you certainly get passages where it's harder to find the topic sentence, but in general, every paragraph has a main point. That's really how IELTS is designed to work and how most academic writing is designed to work. So in general, you can find the main point. But I've certainly seen examples where the topic sentence or the main idea is split across two sentences, one earlier and one later. And in that case, you're just highlighting two parts of the paragraph to get the two main ideas.
That's a bit more challenging.
Of course it is. But the more you practice, rather than just doing more and more and more reading tests, the better you're going to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Now it's time to study IELTS.